or yeah, altitude or yes, height from the sea level. So we know as we go high on a mountain, okay, as we go high on a mountain, the climate will be cooler. Okay, so climatic conditions that are found on the mountain regions are comparatively cooler than the plain regions. Okay, the location, for example, if this is equator and there are two places which are of equal distance from the equator, but one can be cooler and the second can be hotter, because here in this region, yeah, it is located very high above the sea level, whereas this can be on the sea level. So based on the height of a place from the sea level, the weather conditions change. So what are the major changes that happens there? So basically it becomes cool. Okay, as we go high on the altitude, what basically happens is it becomes cooler, right? Even during the summer season, the locations and the land areas along the plain regions will be hotter, whereas on hills will be cooler. See, it's during the summer season that we go for hill stations, na? Ooty, Kodaikanal, or the North Indian stations like Nainital or Dehradun or Shimla, Darjeeling, Mussoorie. All these are the famous hill stations because they are cooler during the summer season. Why they are cooler even during the summer season? Because they are at a high altitude. Altitude means what? Yes, the distance from the sea level. So all these hill stations, Ooty or Kodaikanal or Shimla or Nainital or Darjeeling or Mussoorie or Dehradun, okay, Kulu Manali. So all these regions are located at a height much high above the average sea level, and as we go high in the altitude, the temperature decreases. Okay, so hills and the areas around the hill always will have a cooler climate than the plain regions. Okay, so that is the second factor, altitude or the height from the sea level. The regions above the sea level or something like the hills and the mountains will have a cooler climate because as we go high in the altitude, the temperature decreases. It becomes cooler, right? Now, the third factor is distance from the sea. Distance from the sea. Let us consider two cities, okay, two Indian cities. Mumbai, then Delhi. Okay, so now we have got two cities with us. One is Mumbai and the second is Delhi. See, when we check the climatic conditions of these two regions, we can see Mumbai is warmer even during the winter and cooler even during the summer. Okay, Mumbai is warmer during winter. Okay, so it's warmer during the winter and cooler during the summer. But when we consider Delhi, it's too cooler during winter and too hot during summer. Why is it so? Why Mumbai is warmer during the winter and cooler during the summer, but Delhi cooler, very cool during winter and very hot during summer. Because Mumbai is on a Arabian Sea, whereas Delhi does not have any seas or oceans near that. So the regions which are close to the oceans and the seas, okay, the regions which are close to the oceans and the seas like Mumbai or Chennai or Visakhapatnam, okay, these regions will have a moderate climate throughout the year. Okay, they will have a moderate climate throughout the year, whereas the regions away from the sea coast areas like Delhi will have extreme climates. Extreme climates means, if it is hot, if it is summer, it's very hot. If it is winter, it's very cool. Right? So, the regions which are on the coastal region, okay, either seas or ocean, doesn't matter. But if they are on a sea coast, then they will have a moderate climate throughout the season, throughout the year. Right? But the regions that are very much interior, which are far away from the sea coast regions, will definitely have extreme climatic conditions. Means it will be extremely hot during the summer and extremely cool during the winter. Okay, and how the sea coast regions have a moderate climatic conditions. So what happens is that there are two kinds of winds. We call it a sea breeze and a land breeze. Okay, so now we will check what happens there, and then we will get an idea regarding why the coastal regions have a moderate climate. Okay. Fine. So this is land and this is a sea or ocean. Okay. So during the daytime, what happens is we have a sun here. The sun rays fall on both land and water. So what happens here is land becomes hotter first. What happens? The soil absorbs the heat and the atmosphere that is above the land also becomes hotter. Right? So there is a problem when the air becomes hotter. That is, if it becomes hotter, it will start to rise in the air. Means, when it becomes hotter, it becomes light. Its weight reduces and it goes up. So when the lighter air goes up, what happens? See, there is air here also. Atmosphere is there above water also. But the problem is, water takes more time than the land to absorb heat. Okay? Water takes more time than the land to absorb heat. Right? So what happens? The air above the water will be cool. Right? The air above the water is cool. But when this air goes up, what happens? This air occupies the space. Okay? So when the lighter air goes up, what happens? The cool air flows from the water to the land. Okay? Now, the air over here comes down and occupies this place. And this air is going up, And as we go up, what happens? Temperature decreases. Means air becomes cooler. And this flow over here. Okay? So during the daytime, land becomes hotter faster than the water. Okay? So the air above the land rises up. And into that space, the cool air above the water flows in. Right? So as the air from the sea flows towards the land, this is called sea breeze. What is a sea breeze? Yeah, a sea breeze happens during the day. It is the cool air above the sea water flows towards the land to replace the air which got heated up and rose up into the air. Right? Now, during night what happens? See, last year in the 4th class when we studied about deserts, we have seen deserts have extreme climatic conditions. Isn't it? Yeah, it's very hot during the day and very cold during the night. Why? Why? Yes, the sand can very easily absorb heat and leave out heat, isn't it? Yes. So what happens? The land cools first. The land cools down. So when the land cools down, what happens? The water is still hot, isn't it? The sea is still hot. Now, the hot air is now on the sea. Okay. So this is land, this is water. Right? It's night now. The land got cooled down. The air above the land also is cold. But now what happens? The sea is still warmer. Because water takes more time to leave out the heat. Right? So the water is still hot. It's still warmer. And the air above this sea also is warmer. If it is warmer, then what happens? Yes, it goes up. And the cool air that is above the land flows in towards the sea. Again, the same process. This goes up. Yeah, as we go up, temperature decreases. This cools down and flows in this way. Okay. So during the daytime, the wind comes from the sea, and during the night time, the wind comes from the land, and this is known as a land breeze. Okay. So there is a see, neither the land nor the water is getting warmer. The air above that is always getting rotated, isn't it? Huh? So both during day and night, this is happening. So let it be winter, doesn't matter. Summer, doesn't matter. Rainy season, doesn't matter. This process gets on this coastal region. Okay. During the day, sea breeze happens. The cooler air above the water flows into the land. Automatically, the land becomes cooler first. And as the air gets hotter, it goes up. The cooler air from the sea continues to flow in. Okay. So, this is the reason the cities on the sea coast, like Mumbai or Chennai or Vizag or Kolkata, are cool. Okay. Do we have any such facility in the regions like Delhi or the interior cities, the cities which are in the middle of the country? No. So what happens? Yes, we always have extreme climatic conditions in those regions. What do we have? We have extreme climatic conditions. Okay. So the third factor is the distance from the sea. Okay. Third factor is distance from the sea, and based on the distance from the sea, the different regions have changes in the climatic conditions. The cities or the regions that are there along the coastal region will have a moderate climate throughout the year because of the presence of a sea breeze and a land breeze. As no such facilities are available for the cities, those that are away from the coastal regions will have extreme climatic conditions. It's hot throughout the summer and cold, extremely cold throughout the winter. Okay. Now, what is a sea breeze? Yeah, during the daytime, the land gets warmer, the air above the land becomes hotter and becomes lighter, and it goes up in the air. Okay, the cool air above the sea water flows in, replacing that place from where the air on the land rose up in the air. Okay, and this happens in a cyclic process because the air that rose up above the land, as it goes high, it becomes cooler because temperature decreases as we go up in the altitude. Okay, so this continues in the cyclic process during the daytime, and that is called the sea breeze because the breeze is flowing onto the land from the sea. Right? Now, during the night time, the land becomes cooler faster than the water. The water will be warmer. The air above that will be still warmer. And this warm air will go up. And the cool air above the land will start to flow into the place from where the water went up, so the air went up above the water. As it goes up, it becomes cooler and then it goes on a cyclic process. So days and nights around the coastal regions experience a sea breeze and a land breeze, which keeps the climatic conditions of the region under check. Because of this reason, the region around the coastal areas will have a moderate climate, whereas the regions away from the coastal regions will have extreme climatic conditions. Right? So the next factor which you can have, that can decide the climate of a region is a direction of wind.